tolerance, and peaceful coexistence. It is now my honor to introduce the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Antonio Guterres.
Honorable Minister, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Hate speech is a grave and growing threat to peace and security. It divides communities, dehumanizes entire groups, and sets the stage for bloodshed. It's also a deliberate and a core component in the playbook for virtually every genocide and atrocity crime. We must break this outrageous cycle through education, support for those targeted by abuse, stronger interventions by governments and technology companies, and deeper engagement with traditional and indigenous leaders, the focus of the Muscat Plan of Action launched here today. I commend those leading this process, notably the Sultanate of Oman, the UN Office on Genocide Prevention and the Responsibility to Protect, and the Network for Religious and Traditional Peacemakers. I also thank the United Nations Alliance of Civilizations for co-hosting this event, building on its efforts to foster peaceful, inclusive, and just societies through intercultural and interreligious dialogue. And I thank all of you here this afternoon for recognizing traditional and indigenous leaders as essential partners in the quest for peace and security. Your support has never been more needed. Across the world, we see conflicts raging, inequalities widening, climate chaos worsening, and hate speech spreading faster than ever, amplified by unregulated platforms and intensified by artificial intelligence. Excellencies, the primary responsibility for preventing genocide and other atrocity crimes rests with states, but all of society plays a role. The Muscat Plan of Action draws on centuries of knowledge and the expertise of traditional and indigenous leaders. It reminds us that hate speech is both a warning sign that violence is coming and a catalyst that speeds its arrival. To address this challenge, we need action at all levels. I see 4 areas where member states can play a vital role. First, by holding digital platforms to account on matters of public safety. Social media, messaging apps, and other tools let hate speech and incitement to violence spread faster and farther than ever before. But it doesn't have to be that way. Digital platforms must do far more to protect individuals and groups from harm. I am particularly concerned about the risks faced by children. States should require tech companies to embed user safety in product design and rein in misguided algorithms and misuses of artificial intelligence. I'm counting on delegates to address some of these concerns next month when we convene the first global dialogue on AI. Second, by strengthening local capacity for prevention and mediation. That includes training on human rights, monitoring and reporting to strengthening early warning mechanisms. Guidance on the use of nonviolent methods for confronting hate speech and incitement to violence. Mentorship opportunities aligned with international standards and local values and traditions. And educational activities that foster respect for diversity and non-discrimination, counter and address hate speech, and promote peaceful coexistence. Third, communication. By supporting dialogue and other initiatives that build mutual understanding and strengthen social cohesion within and among communities. And by helping traditional and indigenous leaders neutralize hate-filled narratives. This includes deconstructing myths and refuting harmful ideologies and rumors, denouncing instances of incitement to violence, and promoting tolerance, mutual coexistence, and understanding. And fourth, collaboration. That means expanding opportunities for traditional and indigenous leaders to mediate local conflicts with support from political leaders and institutions. Enhancing collaboration between traditional, indigenous, and political actors around shared goals, and developing policy guidance and resources on local mechanisms for countering hate speech and preventing genocide and other atrocity crimes. The United Nations is committed to strengthening the role of traditional and indigenous leaders in the prevention and resolution of conflicts. You bring crucial knowledge of local realities, plus the respect and trust of your people. Your authority and influence can help ease tensions before they escalate. And your lived experience makes it more likely that the mediation and settlement of disputes will be respected, implemented, and sustained. This is why your perspectives must be front and center in efforts to combat hate speech and prevent genocide and other atrocity crimes. And this includes faith leaders, youth leaders, and women leaders. The meaningful participation of women is especially critical, as reflected in Security Council 1325 on Women, Peace and Security. Excellencies, we must confront hate speech and uphold human rights and human dignity before it is too late. States have clear obligations under international law to combat incitement to hatred and to promote inclusion, respect for diversity and solidarity. Reining in hate speech does not mean extinguishing freedom of expression. At the same time, freedom of expression must never be an excuse for harmful messages. I am determined to keep advancing the United Nations strategy and plan of action on hate speech, as well as the global principles for information integrity, our roadmap to a safer, more ethical digital ecosystem. And I count on your support to ensure the Muscat plan of action empowers traditional and indigenous leaders to help counter hate and prevent atrocities. Together, we can build the inclusive, just and peaceful societies all people deserve, and I thank you.